Something massive is happening right now, and almost nobody is talking about it. Not the banks, not the analysts, not the people on television telling you where to put your money. The ones who are moving first are doing it quietly, and they are doing it fast. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of 90% of people who will never even know this shift happened. Welcome to SHF Money. If you are new here, subscribe right now and hit the like button, because what we cover on this channel is the kind of information most people only find out about after it is too late. Let's get into it. There's a technology being developed right now that does not just change one industry. It changes the relationship between the human mind and every machine on the planet. Think about that for a second. Not a faster processor, not a better app. A direct connection between your brain and the digital world around you. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now, today. A company called Neurable has built software that reads your brain's electromagnetic waves through a headset. No surgery, no implants, no cutting anything open. You put on the headset, and the AI inside it starts reading what your brain is doing in real time. Want to change what is playing on your screen? Think it. Want to switch tracks? Think it. That sounds like a magic trick until you understand that the United States Department of Defense is already using this technology to assess whether pilots are mentally fit to fly a fighter jet on any given day. Let that sink in. The most powerful military force on Earth has already decided this is real enough to use in life or death situations. The technology started at the University of Michigan. Then it moved to Harvard, then MIT. This is not a startup built in someone's garage on a dream. This has the highest level of academic credibility you can get in America. The founder and CEO is a trained doctor. His team is made up of the kind of people who do not take risks on things that do not work. And recently, Neurable signed a major commercial deal with HP for the gaming market. Think about how many gamers there are on this planet, hundreds of millions. And that is just the first commercial door they have opened. They just raised $35 million in their latest financing round. $35 million of fresh institutional capital flowing into a company that has been quietly building this for years. The people who got in early 5 years ago participated in every single round of financing. Every round. They saw what this was from the beginning, and they never let go. That is what smart money looks like. That is what being early looks like. Now compare this to Neuralink. You have probably heard of Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain interface company, the one that requires brain surgery, the one that requires a physical implant drilled into your skull. Not everyone wants that. Most people will never agree to that. The barrier to entry is enormous, and the risk is real. Neurable does everything non-invasively. The headset sits on your head. The software does the work. No surgery, no recovery, no permanent alteration of your body. That is a completely different market. That is a market that is not just for patients or soldiers or risk takers. That is a market for everyone. And right now, while everyone is distracted arguing about interest rates and market corrections and which politician said what, the real wealth transfer is happening in places like this, in companies that most people have never heard of, doing things that most people cannot imagine yet. The same way Bitcoin was being dismissed as fake internet money in 2015 and 2016. You remember that. People laughed. People called it a scam. People said it would never last. And the ones who listened, the ones who looked past the noise, some of them turned small amounts of money into life-changing amounts. Not because they were lucky, because they were early. And being early requires you to see what others refuse to look at. This is that same moment again. The technology of the mind is the last frontier. Everything else, the internet, smartphones, social media, AI, all of it was about connecting the world to machines. This is about connecting your mind directly. And once that happens, at scale, every industry you can think of gets rewritten. Medicine, defense, entertainment, education, communication, productivity. Every single one. Now let's talk about the engine that is powering all of this. Artificial intelligence. Not the buzzword version you hear from people trying to sound smart. The real version. The one that is moving so fast that even the people inside it struggle to predict what comes next. We are not talking about 5-year timelines anymore. We are talking about 5 months. The pace of change is unlike anything that has happened in modern business. Weekly, new capabilities, new models, new breakthroughs. Every single week. Right now, the focus has shifted to AI agents. These are programs that do not just answer questions. They complete tasks. They manage processes. They act on your behalf. You set the goal, the agent figures out how to get there. And here is the number that should wake you up. 99.9% of all transactions in the future will be machine to machine. Not human to human, not human to machine. Machine to machine. Humans set the instructions. Machines execute everything. That is the world that is being built right now, while most people are still debating whether AI is a threat or an opportunity. The people who are going to win in this environment are the ones who understand the infrastructure that makes it all run. Quantum computing is one of those pieces. This is not a word to gloss over. Quantum computing is the layer that sits beneath all of the AI you see today and makes it orders of magnitude more powerful. The companies developing this technology are doing something that classical computers simply cannot do. They are not faster versions of what already exists. They are a completely different type of machine, solving a completely different category of problem. Drug discovery, cryptography, climate modeling, financial modeling. The scale of what becomes possible when quantum computing reaches maturity is so large that most people cannot mentally process it. Here's a real example of what this means in practice. A 250-page industry report on quantum computing. Upload it to a large language model. In under 60 seconds, you have a 10-point analysis of the most critical information in that document. You do not need to read 250 pages. You do not need to be a scientist. You do not need a degree. You need access to the tools that are already available and the willingness to use them. The people who refused to engage with the internet in the 90s got left behind. The people who refused to engage with smartphones in 2008 got left behind. The people who refused to engage with Bitcoin in 2015 got left behind. This pattern does not change. It repeats. The technology changes, the opportunity changes. The pattern of who wins and who loses stays exactly the same. The ones who engage, adapt, and position themselves early win. The ones who wait for certainty, who wait for mainstream validation, who wait until everyone else is already talking about it, those people arrive late every single time. Late to the party means paying the highest prices. Late means smaller returns. Late means watching others talk about what they made while you sit there wondering why you waited. Now here's the thing about silver, because this conversation always comes back to silver. The industrial demand for silver is not a theory. It is not an opinion. It is a math problem with a very uncomfortable answer. Every electric vehicle requires silver. Every solar panel requires silver. Every Starlink satellite requires silver. Every piece of next-generation defense technology requires silver. Elon Musk's entire empire, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, Solar City, runs on silver. And he has publicly acknowledged how dangerous the supply situation is. The math was done for him years ago by people who understand this market. Projected production numbers from Tesla alone against current silver prices produced numbers that made no sense. At $20 an ounce, the cost of silver needed for Tesla's growth plans looked manageable. At $50, it gets serious. At $100, it becomes a production crisis. And that is just one company. Now multiply that across every major industrial user of silver on the planet, simultaneously scaling up production. The silver shortage is not something that might happen someday. It is something that is already mathematically locked in. Supply is constrained, demand is accelerating. And the people who are quietly accumulating now are not doing it because they read a headline. They are doing it because they understand supply and demand better than the people managing their money at a bank. This is why the people who move first win. Not because they had special information handed to them, because they looked at what was in front of them and took it seriously instead of dismissing it. The brain reading technology is real. Quantum computing is real. The silver supply constraint is real. The AI transformation is real. These are not separate stories. They are connected threads in the same fabric. The next decade of wealth is being built on all of it right now, today, while most people are still on the sidelines. And here's where you are standing right now. You are watching this video, which means you already know something is happening. You already feel it. The question is not whether this shift is real. The question is what you do with the information you now have. There are two types of people in every major technological and financial shift. The ones who look back and say they saw it coming and acted. And the ones who look back and say they saw it coming and waited. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels responsible. But waiting is just a slower version of getting left behind. The wealth transfer is already in motion. The early positions are already being taken. Every day that passes is a day that more of those early positions are filled by people who decided to stop waiting. You're not watching this by accident. You found this channel because you are already the type of person who looks for what others miss. Now the only thing left is to decide what you do next. Go and explore what we have talked about today. Look at the technology. Look at the numbers. Look at the supply and demand data. Play with the AI tools that are available right now for free. Upload a document. Ask a question. See what it gives you back. Use the tools that the people building the next wave of wealth are already using every single day. This is SHF Money. Subscribe if you have not already. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and we will see you in the next one.